Well, hi and welcome to the video series where we're going to be talking about the contents of my latest book, How to Create the Life You Were Meant to Live. Now obviously if you've picked up this book, if you've read this book, or you're thinking about getting this book, you must have some degree of dissatisfaction about your current life and where you are. So you're needing to, or wanting to, move to a new life, how to create a new life, which is the entire topic of this book. Now, of course, in order to move to a new life, you have to build a new world in effect, because you're going to be living in a new environment. So that's what I want to talk about in this very first video, is building that new world, creating the new world around yourself that you're going to move into. Okay, so first off, I don't know if you have seen the movie Trading Places with Eddie Murphy. Now if you haven't, I'll briefly explain the situation. Eddie Murphy is a street beggar, and there is another finance organisation that contains these currency traders, and they have a bet that they can take somebody off the street, everyday person, and transform them into this trader. And so anyway, Eddie Murphy is ultimately the person that comes off the street. They take him in and they dress him in a very expensive suit. They take him to his new house, tell him how much good fortune he's come into, and they explain the business model to him, what he has to do. And as they're explaining the model to him, he's walking around the house and he's saying, so what you're telling me is this belongs to me? And they said, yes, everything in the house belongs to you. And he picks it up and tries to put it in his pocket, and he thinks he's going to smuggle or get these things out of this house, and it's all a big some sort of scam, but he wants to take these things with him. Now eventually he accepts the fact that this is his right, and he falls into that role. So what happened was that Eddie Murphy was picked off the street, he was transported into this new world that he knew nothing about, he hadn't prepared, and so it didn't fit him. It took time for him to adjust to that. So what I want to talk to you today is about creating this new world that is going to fit you, so when you move into it, it fits you like a glove, so you're not feeling disjointed, let's say, like in the movie Eddie Murphy in Trading Places. Okay, so first up what you want to do, and again this process is explained in here, but I want to really explain it in a much greater depth in this way that I can, by explaining it verbally to you. So if you first off start imagining that your imagination is a separate thing from you. So this thing that you're going to create in your mind, this thing you're going to create, your new environment, is completely separate from yourself. And you might like to do this by sort of imagining that your imagination, as it were, is somewhere over there. It's off to the side of you or something. Or imagine that this new world is like imagine like a tennis ball sitting over here somewhere. You're going to create this new environment for yourself. It's very important that while you're doing this, you are not connected to your current reality as you see it, okay? Because if you remain connected to your current reality, when you try and create the new reality, you're going to create tones of the old one with it. In other words, you're going to be limited in the effect of your imagination, and just how effective it can be, your imagination. Okay, so if we're going to move over to this other world, or start constructing it, how do we do this? How do we start to build this? Well, first off, all previous preconceptions have to drop away. You can't take something over, like I said, into this new world and limit it. So let us suppose that you want to create a new job, or you want to be promoted in the current job that you're in, and we'll keep that very simple. So the way to do this is to, over in this new world, is to create yourself, or to imagine yourself in that role, not having given it, but you're actually in that role and existing in that role now. And everything about that's over there, and I'm pointing over there, as it were, is to keep this mind in your mind that's away from you. Everything about this is independent. So you're imagining over there that you are in this world and what your life is like. What would you experience? What would be going through your mind? What would you hear from people around you? What would you be saying to other people around you? What would your performance be like when you were in this new environment? So you build this up over here in your imagination, completely independent of you. Let's keep that very important. Keep it away from you, very important. So none of the tones of reality about your present life, your present position, is in that new world. And when you've created that new world and it's completely formed, as it were, in your imagination, you've got a very clear image of what it's like. Now is the time to, I'm going to say physically, but obviously I'm meaning mentally, but you're going to physically transport yourself into that new world. And to do this, you might even like to imagine it something like a globe, something like a bubble where this new world is contained within. So when you actually go over into this new world, you are sealed within it, and everything about that new world is your current reality. Now, the secret to this is the longer you can spend in that bubble, in that new reality, completely independent of anything else going on in your life that your current reality is, that will start to set up a sequence of events going on around you and within you. Now, we will get to goals and stuff like that and the actions you take in the next video, but for now this video is really to focus on creating that world and you inhabiting that world. So when you're over into this world, of course you would react, as I said, everything just as if you were in that world. So you go over there now and you live in that world and you experience all these things in your imagination. Now here is not a curious thing, but is a fact. The human mind cannot tell the difference between a real or an imagined event. Now, some people have a job to get their head around that, but that is a fact. Human imagination cannot detect the difference between a real and imagined event. Now, given the fact that is true, and you are over there in this new world with this imagined event, this is building up, your mind believes, your imagination believes that this is how you exist. Now, if you exist in this, then your environment has to support that. Now, what your mind will then do at this point is it will start to say, okay, well, this is the new world. I now know to move into this, into a physical, make this my physical environment. What you're doing is you're bringing that imaginary world, that globe-like imaginative world that you've created, into your solidified form, your reality. Now, the more you do this, the longer you spend in that bubble, in that new world, independent of yourself, in your new imagination, the faster that situation will come to into your life. Now, I'm going to end this video now because I really want you to focus on that one single concept of creating the world, building the imagination. It's separate of yourself, it's over there, and then you go into it. That's the essence of what this video is about. In the next video, what I'm going to talk about is what you would have to do, what you would physically have to do, because most people will start thinking about setting goals to achieve something more in life they want. And I'm going to explain the process of why that is fundamentally flawed, and it is the absolute last thing you want to do using it in a traditional method. Yes, you are going to be doing certain things, but certainly you're not going to be setting goals in that way. So if you haven't read the book, like I say, do get over and have a look now, How to Create the Life You're Meant to Live. This is what this video series is about. I'm going to be going through the whole process of this book, going through and how to create that new life that you want to live. So I'll catch up with you on the very next video. Take care.